but really take it back to the drawing table. For everyone that's been involved longer, you probably know that we started out of a grand vision. A vision of actually a vision on organizing without organizations. And then we thought, what would a product look like that we wanted to use? So NS3 in this case. We worked together with Lively on it, and what part of is now is basically what we've concepted back then. Some improvements on the try page in the last couple of months. That was really focused on improving our business-to-business proposition, but not rethinking what part it should be. And that's actually what we started doing, and that's why we call it now part 2.0. So it's also a break from what we were working on. And well, today we want to share with you what we've been up to for the past months, based on what we've learned in the 6 months that we've been, almost 7 months that we've been operational with part of it now. And we want to do a couple of things. Share with you how we went back to the drawing table, what the results are of that those interviews, the users interviews, the personas that we've drawn up, and then basically also do a workshop together, arguing that will end in a debate between groups that will form later on, arguing which personas are the most important to work on right now. So it's about prioritization of the development roadmap, and not just on a feature basis, but on a persona basis. And we'll have a fierce debate here this afternoon, probably outside, enjoying the weather at the same time. So we'll start off with a presentation, and then there will be action. Can I have the presentation?
Yes, I'm sorry. I also made an error.
Ah, that was a typo. Okay.
So I had
No, it is not a cable. Take one back. That's a cable. That's. Okay. So in order to make the best possible tool, we need actually to know 3 things. Number 1 is, what is our transformative purpose? But because we can build any tool for any type of persona, but the thing is, what does Potter want to accomplish in this world? And there we have a little bit of an issue, because we didn't do a collective purpose discussion yet. We decided first to do the values. We're in the midst of that process. Create a manifesto, and based on the manifesto, define our purpose. So for now, I did a temporary one to present, and then you can also understand that the way we interview the personas, the way we perceive them right now, is building up on that purpose. Secondly, we want to know who are our users. That's why we did the persona analysis. Personas are basically a representation for a group of users. We've drawn up 4, and then Oana did most of the interviews with them, drawing up what their needs are, what they want to accomplish, and why would they need Pardot as a platform, and what should Pardot then offer as features to help them on their way. So, quickly, and not to debate it, but to give it as a bit of a concept, the temporary purpose for Pardot, as I wrote it down, we help individuals, organizations and communities on their journey to decentralization. And that's what we call the end goal of this, the destination of the journey is what we call swarm organizing, either on an individual level, organization or community level. And which is essentially boiling down to the level of the individual, getting connected, being free to choose what to work on, who to work with, and get connected and work together on a purpose or projects in ever-changing constellations. Can be debated, fiercely debated, but that's not the topic for today. But then, let's give you some background if you present the personas on why did we come up with those 4, and why, and how did we listen to their stories, and what kind of needs and wants to get out of their words. So next up is Oana. She did most of the work here actually. So the floor is yours.
Okay. Hi. Hello. Hi. So yeah, I did about 8 interviews so far. We still have a couple more interviews to do in the next weeks, but yeah, this has been quite quick that this has all happened over 2 weeks. I've done lots of interviews. It's been a lot of fun because I've gotten to know the users of Cardup, and I've gotten to see what people need and what they want, and I'm really happy to share that with you guys also, because now you see what track we're heading towards, and maybe you can contribute new ideas, and this is the perfect environment for something like that. So the first persona here we have is the community builder. I'm going to go a little bit into more detail, but so we've got the community builder who wants to build a purpose-driven active community. The super connector who has tons and tons of people that they know and lots of ideas boiling in their heads, and they know who to put with what project. The ideator who comes up with these great ideas that they need a team for, and the co-creator who has skills, knowledge, time, expertise, whatever it is that they want in order to help the ideators make their great ideas happen. So here's an example of the work that we're doing with the personas. So you can see we have Martijn Aslander, and we have a cool quote that he said, or can we zoom? Oh, I don't know if it'll zoom.
No.
But anyway, the content is not super important, but you get a sense of what we ask about. So we talk about what goals they have. So for example, Martijn wants to connect people. He's an example of our super connector. He wants to make the world a better place through his ability to connect people. You see his frustrations. So what pisses him off about the world, and what he thinks needs to be changed. You have his personality, whether he's introverted, extroverted, all of this kind of stuff. It's like a snapshot of what makes someone who they are. And also, we really wanted to find out the underlying motivations for what they do and why they work towards these goals. So, generally, overall, what I hear over and over and over again, which is a good thing, is that people love big ideas and they want to change the world, just like Martijn Aslander. And often people say that they're more concerned about social problems, and they want to work with other people, not to just make money and not to just pay their rent, but because they think that there's issues that need to be solved and they see a way for them to solve these problems. People are also annoyed and frustrated at this old way of working, like hierarchy, top down, being told what to do, for example, is not something, it's not a great way to motivate yourself to work. And people consistently make the comment that they're frustrated that there's not just one tool that's used by everybody. And yeah, it's really hard to deal with. I'm sure lots of people here have also experienced the same thing, that it's hard to connect people over just one thing because everybody has a different way of working. So our first persona is the community builder, and it's more of a grassroots type of mentality where they have a goal that they want to reach, and they're trying to bring people together. So I will just get you guys to take a couple of minutes here or maybe 1 minute, to read this super quickly, and then I will give a brief summary of it also, and then we can move on through each of the personas this way.
How many people did you interview for this one?
For this one, I had 2 interviews. Actually, that's a good thing to point out because for some of these, we're still in the process of getting multiple opinions. So this is just a quick snapshot of 2 people. But you also find that once you start hearing the same thing, there's a definite trend. There's a definite, similar mentality.
And who did you say you interviewed?
I interviewed Philip Honigman, and we also talked to Victor Borski.
And today I talked to Arne van der Pluim, Aad Marcus, and it's all the same trend. So basically the same kind of needs that you see popping up in all these community builders personas.
Yeah, and an interesting side note is that a cool phenomenon that's been found over and over again in history is that there's paradigm shifts. So for example, you notice things just pop up almost randomly, like the theory of evolution wasn't just Darwin, there was other people working at the same time. So this is seriously, if you read Reinventing Organizations, you'll find the same thing. People have this same mentality, and it's not just one person that we're catering to, it's a general sense of things that are shifting. So I think it's a good point that yeah, I interviewed 2 people. There's other reasons, of course, and other motivations, but so yeah. Then I have the top-down community builder, and for example, Elke Lauwers from Quadrad is one of these top-down community builders. I created this from her persona, but we still next week are planning an interview with her. But yeah, so you can see it's sort of the opposite of the bottom-up community builder, whereas this is already an existing organization. The grassroots wants to build an organization. But you can see the same trends that people are not really excited about organizational structure, and people don't want to be limited to just what their job description says. So the idea is to empower people and to bring people together towards a purpose, and ultimately to help them self-organize.
And the main trend for both is that this community builder wants to start building this community. So even within an existing organization, just implementing Pardub or a self-management tool is not the trick. The trick is to get people to use it, to work in this way. So basically have the same needs, although they come at it from a different angle. And their real challenge is to actually onboard people to their community's purpose and to have them activated and start working. And that's not a one-step thing, so here's the Pardubs and just join. And check one where you can be a partner or supporter. It's really a process of belonging to a group, and then the end result of belonging to a group is being active in that group, I think, and maybe even becoming one of the community managers in the group. This is actually the process where what they are most concerned.
And basically all these people are right at the beginning, and like I said, a lot of people haven't found this one perfect tool for onboarding or for collecting people. Like the last one had a really great quote that he has a collection of people, which is fine, but he wants to create a community rather than just a bunch of random people. So that's the community builder. Now you have the super connector, which actually interviewed Brian and Lawrence for this one, and Martin Aslander again was an example. So like I said, they have tons of contacts, a huge network, and right now they're limited by the tools that they have because they can't put people with the right projects. Maybe they don't have a way to remember exactly what special traits or characteristics a person has, and they want to harvest their personal swarm in the sense that they want to be able to put people together, and if someone says, hey, I need a brilliant graphic designer, they can think, or they can find one immediately. And then we have the ideator. So these people have super cool, brilliant ideas that they actually want to put to action. So they're trying to find teams, and they want to collaborate and turn something on paper to something real with, tangible. And what they need is just a quick and easy way to be able to do this, to find the right person to make stuff happen.
Do you still need people for this one?
Yes, we do. Because so far I've only interviewed Yuri and De Vries. So if anyone knows another good example of an ideator that has lots of really super brilliant ideas, that would be good if you let me know.
Yeah, the ideator is not just having ideas, but also be wanting to
actively
execute.
Yeah.
Steph would Steph, the one with the bicycle and the waterproof doors and
Yeah.
Okay, maybe you can send me their name. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I also know one or two people.
Yeah, you guys email me. One at part of you'll know.
Is one of them? Aren't you one of them? Oh, the
Yes.
ideators? Right.
Yeah? Okay. Cool. Do you nominate yourself or are you nominating? I don't know. Anyway, so then we have the co-creator. And these are people that see that great potential is possible and they know that they have something they can contribute, and that's what they want to do. So, and they also want to build a network of people that they trust and people that trust them in order for them to make this happen. Yeah, the same sort of thing with frustrations with the traditional way of working. And yeah, they want also to connect with other people that work in this or that think the same way that they do, so that they can throw ideas around and brainstorm. And also another interesting need that I got from these co-creators is that they're really doers, action makers. So they want also a way to show that what they've done and present the work that they're doing, because this also helps them create like a a reputation.
Trophy case.
That's why,
Yeah, a trophy, case, a portfolio, whatever you want to call it.
Did the co-creator mention anything about did they have problems like having the distribution among different platforms as the connectors or the ideators?
Yeah, this was
They were mentioning
everybody
that
said the same thing. Yeah, about everybody's using something else. People use Gmail. 100%. Other people don't even use email. Some people want a phone call. Some people use Google Drive. There's so many tools that different people have, and it's also a challenge to be able to, have that all in one spot. Okay, so now here we see a little thing that I did up. So you can see relationships. Now this, of course, is just how we believe that these people connect together and how they can connect on Part Up. But the big circle is Part Up itself, and like the big community. You have the community builder who connects to the super connector because they say, I have these ideas. Do you know someone that I can connect to? The super connector has an effect on the way that the ideator and the co-creator actually come together, because a lot of times they will recommend them to each other, or the ideator and the co-creator can find each other, of course. And then, the community builder also connects to the ideator because they're always looking for people to, help them make or build this community and get projects going. And also connected directly to the co-creator because they need people with awesome skills to make stuff happen. So you also see we have these tools along the outside because this sort of addresses this problem that everybody's using something else. So basically this is how we envision this whole process. I don't know if you have something to add.
Well, no, it's our view of the world right now, so it's a perspective, and next to being a perspective that's helpful for concepting Part Up 2.0, I think it's also a helpful perspective, or it should be aligned with the perspective that we have from an implementation perspective. So if we want to do implementations, help people use Part Up for their goals, then I think it could be helpful for them to understand how they can use the other types of people on Part Up to accomplish their goals. So for example, when Eric is with a current customer that wants to top-down change the way the organization operates, then I think it's helpful to have him understand that there are super connectors that he can use to some extent to build this community, and that he needs ideators before starting to connect to co-creators. So I think it is a perspective, it's not holy grail or something like that, but it can help to understand how Part Up actually supports a process and not just is a tool for a specific moment in time.
You always need a community builder because there are 3 lines from the community builder to the others.
That's a good question, and I don't think it's necessary.
If you leave him out, will all things fall apart, or
No,
No.
then you just have an ID and not a community.
Yeah, and then
So in the case of Jetro, he was just starting as an ideator. He was just looking for co-creators. And then at a moment in time, he became actually a community builder because he wanted to do more than just explore this one ID, and actually discovered that he had a purpose that was larger than this first Part Up that he started. And I think now he is moved from one persona to the other. Of course, any person can be multiple persona. But I think, so either it starts just isolated on ideator, co-creator, maybe with a super connector, then you have the Part Up level, that's just one project. If you look at it from a purpose level, where more Part Ups are needed to chase this purpose, then I think you will need a community builder at some point to really get a group together.
And if you do implementations, then it could be like starting.
I think so, yeah. And even from grassroots can maybe start a little bit differently, but Jetro moved on to be the community builder very quickly after his first Part Up. So I think If you move on from a party to a tribe, you need a community builder to make it happen.
The way I see it, there's like a few people ideator, a few people community builder, and very few people super connectors, and many people co-creators. So
Yeah.
90% of all people are co-creators in many different roles,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Yes.
I think so,
Maybe we
yeah.
should somehow make that clear in the
Yeah.
vision that
Mhm.
co-creators is the large amount, the large pool,
Yeah.
and we need those 3 blocks to get the best out of this pool.
Yeah, and I think it's really
Now it looks like
important.
there are 4 roles, and but
Yeah.
they're not
Yeah,
really
and
special.
I think that's
No.
I don't you can it's a viewpoint, it's an expression, but I think from our perspective, if we think what is important for us to do in order to make this whole constellation happen,
Mhm.
our focus should be first and foremost on the right side, whereas now our attention has been most on the co-creator side. So
Yeah.
I think that I think it's good this way because it helps us to look at them as 4 equally important personas.
Yeah.
They're equally important, but the amount of people in
Yeah.
one role is far bigger. And
So it's a model, and it now represents the equality for our attention. But you can also make a different one where it's needed to show where the most amount of people are. So this is a different purpose.
who's the ideator in our part of core team?
That's a good question.
The ideator.
Who believes that he fits? Well, maybe let's do all of them. So in terms of community builder, who would think that he, as a person, would fit this community builder persona? We wrote it down. Anyone? No?
3?
3 community builders. We had the second one was the
Co-creator?
the ideator.
Ideator, yeah.
Ideators. The ideators.
I think I'm super connected. I mean, in this.
Yeah, I'm too.
Yeah, but you can do 2 things.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you
you
do.
as a
It's
person
not
can
just-
be 2 personas.
Yeah,
So you're not in a
don't
box.
think you're in a box. Be whatever you want to be.
I would like
I'm
being in
all-
a box.
You're all.
I like my box.
Okay.
I need help with the laptop. It's just not working. I don't know what's going on.
What is break down?
Wait. Oh, maybe it was my laptop.
Yeah, I think your laptop is constantly switching off. So you have to keep
No,
moving.
it's
Then
the cable.
Sorry, Tim.
It's the cable also.
What's the presentation called?
It's called Thinking and Drinking 6.
so the
Yeah, just
co-creator.
search Thinking and Drinking.
Hands. Co-creators. What's a co-creators?
With an ampersand.
So also in the part case, I think definitely it's around 90% co-create and 10% is community builder, ideator, or super connector.
I know.
And I think we need all of
So
them.
one of the personas.
So listening to this ride of these personas, what are your thoughts? Do you have things that you think, oh, you totally missed out on one, or is it way too general, or what are your feelings?
I think it's really important to differentiate the community builder from the super connector because they can tend to be quite similar. But community builder is way more focused on organization, in my point of view.
Yeah, I think what you can see it as is super connectors are really all about people, whereas community builders are about a purpose. So they want to see, or they want to reorganize a specific thing, whereas super connectors are able to do this in multiple domains.
Yeah.
But it's,
Yeah, well, I would
but
say as a
all-
super connector and looking at Martijn and looking at myself, it's quite purpose driven.
Mm-hmm.
It's also like a much shorter timescale role because I mean in role of superconnector you can just exchange a couple of phone numbers between some people so they can get going.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
If you're a community builder, it's like managing. Well,
Long-term.
Well, the
Yeah.
difference in the word builder.
Yeah.
The super connector is not a builder; it just connects. And then, okay, somehow,
Do
sometime
whatever.
I'll get back to them and I hear what they're up to. And a builder is really he wants to be in this group and see it grow and evolve.
Can anyone be an ideator more than the other 2 roles? I mean, not everybody can be a community builder, not everybody can be a super connector, but
Mhm.
anyone can be an ideator.
Yeah. But there's people with frequently more ideas.
Yeah.
Which there's some, like you're a guy, you have an idea and then you just go.
That's true. But also let's not forget that there's also like a kind of persona that outside of this model. It's just like the regular person who doesn't do things like this. Just
But
goes
if
to
you-
work.
But if you translated the regular as the co-creator, just that he doesn't choose freely what to do.
No, I mean they
Think so,
do
right?
choose freely. They can go on and choose whatever they want to work on.
They don't feel like it.
No.
How do you mean?
There's many people who don't see the choice of leaving their current
Sure,
job.
but we're talking about specifically within the domain of part of where we
Yeah.
assume
They're
or we
looking
make
at
a certain
self
assumptions.
people that want to, that are keen on doing some self
But
organization.
but if we go to an organization, we will also face normal employees
Yeah.
who are not there.
They're
yet.
outside of the scope.
They
of
are
this,
not the
No, I
enemy.
think they are also co-creators, potential co-creators. also
Potential.
potential.
Yeah.
And also potential ideators, and I think there were way more ideators in the world than
Yeah.
that comes about right now because of the structures we impose on them.
Yeah.
But
And maybe
this
what
is
I
the
missed
point of
here
this
is actually we need to move on. But maybe
Yeah.
what I
I've
missed
got
here
one
is
question.
Yeah.
Before we move on, do you have like a model used, or did you kind of came up with the community builder, ideator, co-creator, and super connector yourself?
I think
It's good. Good
That's a
question.
good question.
Yeah.
Now there are several models. If you look at the so words names.
Book?
No,
no,
no.
I
The
the Maven.
The book about epidemics and how he uses
yeah.
it to explain how new ideas and new companies grow. What's it called?
Council.
No,
Tipping Point.
Tipping Point.
Malcolm Gladwell.
Malcolm.
Yes.
It's a book by Malcolm Gladwell on Tipping Point that actually describes these roles in much the same lines.
Yeah.
So no, we didn't take a model, but there has been so many models on this subject that I think that's quite accurate.
And also but it came naturally sort of out of the users as
Yeah.
well. So we see general trends and then you explore more and you find out who fits into these roles.
So we didn't put all the part of users into a box, but the box was there already.
We defined the box. Well, yeah, I was just going to say what I missed here, maybe pointing out what Elon said too, is that people are outside on this boundary too. And they enter once they're connected somehow, whether they know an ideator or whether they want to become an ideator. So this is just within part up. It represents what's going on or what we think should go on or how we think it works. One perspective, but yeah, there's people that get drawn in all the time. So the next steps that we are taking, like once these personas have been defined and really developed, everyone's probably familiar or has heard the hooked model or has seen it sitting on the wall. So what we want to do is define, and what we've actually already done is define rewards. So what do I, as a part-up user, get out of using part-up? Why would I want to use it? And so we have the reward of the hunt, which is basically the reward of going through and looking for ideas. Wait, hunt for progress? No, yeah. Okay,
Good for people.
Hunt for people, hunt for progress. So hunt for progress is you have your idea or you're contributing to an idea and you want to see it develop and you get satisfaction from that, whether it's just the intrinsic satisfaction, like I'm contributing to something, or maybe it can be monetary, whatever. That's a reward that you get from using part-up. And hunt for people, if I want to find or want to build my network, or if I want to be recommended a user to be able to work on my project or on my part-up, then that's a reward in itself because I'm building my network. So the hooked model basically takes these four elements and makes it into a habit-forming technology. So you have the trigger, which is like a little poke that says, hey, remember me? Like whether it's an emotion, like you want to feel connected, so you go onto Facebook, or if it's an email saying, check your notifications on Facebook, that would be a trigger. Then you have the action, so if I get an email, I click the link that's in the email. My reward is I see my notifications and maybe something interesting popped up. And then I invest something because maybe I go and comment on this notification. And then the cycle continues, and the idea is the more that you use part-up, the more invested you become, but also the more rewards you get. So what we want to do is create hooked cycles for each of the personas.
And so there will not be one hooked cycle per persona, but basically what we'll do, we'll have a persona, and that persona has specific needs. And those needs will be the starting point for those writing down hooked cycles. And we did some sessions on them, for example, the hunt for people. So how would part-up users hunt for people to get them in their personal swarm and to be able to harvest that swarm? So we have done that quite extensively already. But then we said, well, let's go back to the drawing table where it means what kind of users do we have and where do we want to focus, and that's basically the topic for today.
Mhm. So maybe a part of example in the hunt for people. I have an idea and the trigger is internal. I need someone to work on it. So I'm like, shit, where can I find someone? Well, I don't want to go on LinkedIn because we like Pardot. So I go onto Pardot and that's the trigger right there. It's an internal trigger. The action is I go to the Discover page, or I go to my invite modal and I start searching super creative guy. And I get a reward because, hey look, I have a super creative guy. And then I invest in this super creative guy because I send him an email and I say, hey, do you want to work on my idea? And so basically the more a user invests into Pardot, the more likely they are to respond to their triggers also. So this is the next step that we're going to take once the personas are ready. And now it's time for fun! Yay, in the sun.
Fun in the sun, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So what we want everyone to do is pick one of their 4 favorite personas and talk about why you like this persona and give some reasons why we should actually focus on this persona or prioritize them for the next for part of 2.0. So basically what we are going to do is rank the different personas and decide, well, this will be the input for the final decision of who we begin to focus on first.
Because anyone could have seen there are 4 personas, there's multiple constellations, you can think of multiple needs that those personas have, and there's still no focus. We're not gonna design Pardot for those 4 personas at once. So it's really about now focusing where to start, and why to start there, what kind of user story, why do we need this persona, what should he be able to do in order to take the next steps. So in that, we want to involve you in this discussion. So go and sit together. You have 50 minutes. 50 minutes to discuss together what this persona is all about. Why do you think this persona is key to the success of Pardot? And what he or she should be able to do in order to make this success happen. You need to have a strong argument because you will be face off in the debate afterwards. So we'll have a debate. There's a big table.
Using debating rules?
Yes, using debating rules.
Oh,
So
cool.
you can, Ohana is our debating expert. So
Somebody
please share with them the debating process. I think we can use the long table there and sit on opposite sides, so it will be
Yeah, we'll have 4 quarters.
yes.
So basically, well, here's the main rules. Obviously, of course, the first rule is to be respectful. But basically,
Quickly passing on.
so yeah, basically, you begin by presenting your argument. You can structure that however you'd like to, whether you pretend that you're this persona and you advocate for yourself. I don't know. You can put yourself in